Hey everyone, this is Ferro and with this video we will see 8 tips that can help you in your Ultros gameplay. This is a platform Metroidvania game with a unique style. It has a roguelike system where you can restart from the starting point after completing specific tasks. You are able to restart stronger with more exploration capacities and more knowledge of what you should do next. There will be some spoilers here and there in this video, so consider yourself warned if you keep watching it. The first point that I want to mention is a bit vague and generic, but it's very useful, and it is that you must read almost everything. Especially when you interact with other characters, the game does not tell you much from the start, and a lot of players give up on it because it can be confusing at the beginning. The story is not straightforward and you really don't know what to do and what to explore the first couple of hours. For that reason, if you decide to keep pushing forward on this experience, reading what the characters tell you, it's very important. The game makes it very clear when it gives you hints and when characters tell you what actions you must perform next. If you always keep this in mind, things will make much more sense and it will be obvious what you must do or where you must go next. For my second point, you must focus on places where the game is taking you. After exploring a lot, you'll find that there are a total of 9 areas, but some specific parts are very high or have a big gap between sections that you still don't know how to reach them. You will need more skills or plants or both of them to reach some areas of the game, but if you feel you cannot pass that point, don't waste any time there. The game kinda indicates you where you must go without telling you anything. It almost feels natural which path you can take without the game telling you. And this is what I want to highlight with this point number 2. Of course, there is just one direction to take. Different players will explore different areas at the same cycle. For example, I know that for most players, the last 2 areas explored are the Pantheon of Stars followed by the Gagamoja Refinery. But in my case, it was the other way around. I did the Refinery first and the Pantheon last. But the case is that if you reach a place that looks impossible to pass, especially at the start of the game, just turn around and find something else. For sure that will be more options for you to explore. But while exploring, try your best to find as many memory locks as possible. These memory locks will allow you to lock skills that you already bought, so you don't have to purchase them again in the next cycle. This will allow you to spend less resources to buy skills for the further cycles. The third tip is to focus on the bad ending or violent path initially. Probably this will come naturally as 99.9% of the players will attack a boss when they meet one instead of trying to calm it down. And the game seems to be intended to be played that way. You must be the bad guy and destroy everything at first. But later you'll discover that you can fix things, maybe the enemies can be friends, maybe if you have a good interaction with them, they will help you on the next cycle. Keep this in mind, but you can go rogue on all your encounters until you get the violent ending and you get strong enough. Then you will see that you can do the opposite on the following cycles. Once again, this most likely will become natural, but it's always good to keep it in the back of your head. The fourth tip is that you make your initial main goal to find all the 7 shamans that the game points out in the map for you. These shamans are the source of the story and they are what will take you to its ending regardless if you go violent or not. But once again, focus on point number 3 for the violent path at first. But what I really want to say with focusing on the shamans is for you to not waste too much time on side exploration. That will happen naturally, believe me. If you just try to find your path and the easiest ways to reach every single shaman, by the end you'll see that you have more than 90% of the map fully explored. And this also takes in consideration point number 2, where I told you to not struggle too much on hard platforms and just try to find the obvious ones. You'll notice that those are the ones that will take you to the shamans. Now for the 5th tip, let's talk about Extractor upgrades for a bit. There are 2 types of upgrades, the ones that you get naturally when you destroy each shaman and then the ones that you find in the map during your exploration. The later ones are the better version of the ones that you get after each shaman, and once more, you should not need to focus much on those initially, especially because their location can be hard to reach. Still, I've made a video with the location of all these 6 Extractor upgrades if you are interested. Anyway, what I want to say here is that you must understand what each upgrade does and you want to use its capacities at 100%. So it's really important that you experiment with each type of extractor so you don't miss anything that the game has to offer. You will also notice that after unlocking a new extractor, the next area of the map will be much easier to do. And the game also teaches you a bit of each extractor once you get them from destroying the shaman. One last thing that I want to mention that is very important is that at the start of each cycle you don't have your extractor, you must recover it every single time. And this must be your priority at the start of each cycle. You don't want to go exploring without the extractor or you can find yourself stuck in some area. Which is not a big deal as you can restart that cycle again, but you will lose all the progress that you made on that same cycle. For the sixth point, let's talk about seeds and plants. I don't want to go too much in detail with plants because we can talk about them and what they can do for hours, but the most important part here is that you know what each plant does so you can optimize their purpose. The plants will be your best friends when it comes to reach new areas of the map and also to connect shamans to the living network, but we will talk about that later on point number 8. There are 10 seeds and 10 respective plants in total and they differ a lot from each other. For example, there is one plant that creates a platform for you to jump higher, other that allows you to climb walls, a carnivore plant that will chew you and spit you out so you can reach a platform that is further away, and 7 other plants that have individual functions that you must know for a better performance. And try to pick up every single seed that you find on the floor while exploring. Also take advantage of the digger extractor so you can take seeds already planted in areas that are not very useful. Another thing that I would like to mention here is that once you get the splicer extractor, you can combine different parts of plants and this is a very important mechanic that you will use a lot, so take that in consideration. On our 7th tip, we will mention our regular enemies and what you can do with them. Your natural instinct is to kill them because they attack you, and that's fine, but Gardner will also mention that you can be friends with them. And later in the game, especially when you have memory locks on all your upgrades or at least the majority of them, to make them friendly will be very useful. So when you kill them, they will release some guts that you can pick up and eat. This will give you some health and some stats for skill upgrades. And if you kill them with different attacks, you'll get a non-battered piece of meat that have higher attributes. But aside from that, there is not much else that you can do with those, only that you can give them to some specific enemies or to unlock some specific trophies. The later you advance in the game, you will realize that you'll have a lot more fruits from plants that you'll have pieces of meat. You should consider that the majority of enemies eat fruits, you can also heal more with some fruits, so fruits are better than meat on the long run. Another important point to consider is that when you make an enemy docile, there is a chance that they create a planting spot on the ground for the next cycles. And if you get the reader extractor, you can pay attention to the calories of the enemy. If you top it, you have a higher chance of having a planting spot. And believe me, you will want as many planting spots as possible for the non-violent run and for getting 100% of the map explored. Also, after buying the green thumb skill, you can get compost by dropping food on these planting spots and you'll need a lot of compost later on. So trust in me when I say that feeding enemies is better for you than killing them. One last thing about enemies that I want to talk about quickly is to not ignore the track critters upgrade that will show you where specific critters can spawn in the map. And some of these points are stuck underground, so you must use the digger extractor to pull them out so new enemies appear on the next cycles and then you can get even more planting spots from them. Finally, for our 8th and last tip, let's talk about connecting everything to the living network. This is not very important to do while going for the violent path, but you can make some preparations while you are on it. For the non-violent path, you must connect all 7 shamans, and for that you must use the tips given before so you can extend the living network as further as possible. And while doing this, try to connect as many safe capsules as possible. Why, you ask? Because once these are connected, a fast travel mechanism called wrap is activated on them. But you can only fast travel between capsules that are connected to the living network. This will help you to save a lot of time if you want to travel from one point of the map to the other. Another thing is that if you are going for the violent path and you connect a shaman by mistake, it's fine, you don't need to worry about that. You can still get the violent ending, just make sure to not connect all 7 shamans before you get it. Connecting statues to the living network do not have any effect if you are going for the platinum, but it's something nice to do if you like the exploration of the game. And this is it everyone, that's everything that I wanted to talk about in this game. Of course there are other things that I could mention, like the skill tree for example, but this is very straightforward in general, and the skills that I mentioned are the ones that deserve a bit more explanation in my opinion. But for me, any other points that could be talked about most likely will be obvious after some time playing the game, and for sure you can get them without any help. But everything mentioned should give you a good advantage now the next time you play the game. Anyway, if you have a suggestion or an opinion that you want to share to other players, don't forget to leave it in the comments below. And as always, if you like this video, give a like, comment and do not forget to subscribe. See ya!